NFL defensive back Tyvis Powell on how attractive he thinks Brown's head coaching job is.
I'm torn, Jeff. I'm torn in this situation because I'm trying to be realistic about this. Realistically, if this is my second opportunity to be a head coach, why would I choose Cleveland when people say that you only get 2 opportunities to be a head coach, and if you fail for both of them, then you might not get another one again. So do I want to risk doing that with Cleveland? Because I'll be the first to admit that Cleveland is not in the best space right now. I know that's a shocker, but when you look at things, it's just not in the greatest space. So if I'm a second time about to be a head coach, do I want to risk that? Probably not, unless it's like my only option, right? Or then I'm thinking, well, do you want to run the risk with running a first-time head coach? And we just got out of that relationship. But, it worked for 4 or 5 years. It was great. So you got that situation. I don't know, Jeff. I'm torn. I'm very torn.
Yeah, it's a valid point relative to a young head coach or a guy that's on his second job. You got to be sold on it because you're not going to get a ton of other chances.
Well, and I love Tyvis, but when you're a guy that's already had one shot, and a team's going to offer you a second shot, it's hard to turn down because like you said, you have no guarantee you're getting another one, and that's where it's difficult. Or guess what? Okay, you know what? It's not right for me. I'm going to go to this coach. I'm going to be their offensive coordinator. I'm going to pump up my resume, and then guess what? By October, your quarterback's out. You lost your running back. Your team's got 3 wins. And then Black Monday comes around to end the regular season. And, maybe the whole thing is blown up. And, you're not going to go from a failed coordinator, most likely to getting head coaching opportunities. So, if you want to remain the head guy, and that's your goal and that's the path you choose, that's the path you want to be on. I don't know if you're necessarily in the point, like if you're a failed head coach, because most of them, if you're looking for a second job, you're a failed head coach. So the fact that Cleveland hasn't been very good the last couple of years, well, neither of you. That's why you're unemployed.
That's absolutely true and fair. Is your gut feeling they go offense with the head coach just because you got to get a quarterback? You got a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, that's where this stuff can get a little tricky because, we call all of these head coaching interviews, right? When we know there's a good chance not every single one of them is technically for the head gig, right? So who, you're interviewing offensive assistants from the Rams. Okay, maybe if you were to have interest in Chris Shula, maybe, Steelhouse all of a sudden is your offense coordinator. But as far as hiring for it, it would blow my mind. It would blow my mind if you went defense here, because you're telling people you want to keep Jim Schwartz. So if you want to keep Jim Schwartz, and is this some ploy to maybe make Jim look like the bad guy later on, where you bring in a defensive-minded guy and Jim just says, "Look, at my age, I don't want to do this. Okay, I do my thing. Thank you for the opportunity to let me interview for it all. But if it's not that." But also there is the point, if it is going to be one of these young hot shot guys, again, that you have the opportunity where Jim can just basically take care of the defense while you become a head coach who is, basically learning on the fly. And, you come from an offensive background. That is your specialty. And God knows the workload on the offensive side of the ball for whoever is coming in here is going to be enormous. But my God, if it was a defensive-minded head coach, I think every single one of us would hate it, and I don't know how it would go for said new head coach.